What is your horrible freshman roommate story? Walked into my dorm room to find my roommate and her parents looking through my underwear drawer. They didn't even act apologetic. Her mom just commented on how cute my dinosaur underwear were. So weird. Left for class but it got cancelled, and when I came back in the room my roommate was in my video game chair watching Lifetime with 1/4 of nighttime cold medicine next to him and my camp blanket up around his neck. Conversation followed. Me, you naked under my blanket? Him, yeah man. Me, beaten off to Lifetime high on cold meds? Him, yeah man. Me, I'll be back in 10 minutes, don't be here. Him, yeah man. At least you let him finish. He brought a keyboard. He only know the first 50 seconds or so of the Star Wars Cantina song, but practiced those 50 seconds as loudly as possible for hours at a time. My sophomore year I lived in an apartment-style dorm with 3 other roommates, one of which was 60. Let's call her Mary. Mary apparently couldn't live on her own because she suffered from PTSD from a car accident. Her daughter lived near to campus, but Mary didn't want to live with her daughter because that would be imposing. She would freak out and run to the RA for everything. We were playing video games after class? That's not normal college behavior. We must be on drugs. We had a guy stay overnight. How dare our parents raise us like that? We would drink before we went out. We are in serious need of rehab. Doing laundry at 8 p.m. She actually took our clothes out and threw them on the ground. Our RA and Hall Association were all completely fed up with her but refused to do anything about it because of her age. We got the police involved in a few occasions for harassment issues, but they basically told us to suck it up and respect our elders. On our last night in the dorms she walked around with a cross reciting scriptures at us and telling us we were all going to hell. After a year with her, hell seems like a step up. He wasn't too bad on the whole, except for the habit of alarm snooze 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 alarm snow O's alarm snooze alarm snooze alarm snooze alarm snooze. Why do people do this? I was the horrible freshman roommate because of one event. I was super tired all the time, so I would often sit on the floor in the shower and just let the water wash my sorrows away. Well, I accidentally fell asleep. And I happened to fall asleep with my butt right on top of the drain. It plugged the drain and caused the entire bathroom, dorm room, and the floor below us to flood. Edit, for the record, this was a newer dorm hall and each room had their own bathroom. I would not sit on the floor of a publicly shared bathroom. Gives new meaning to the term butt plug. She got kicked out for failing, and the night before she left she got super drunk, threw up everywhere and left me to clean it up. You know you're an adult when you're the one cleaning up the puke. What if it's your own puke? Then you're a functioning adult. Oh god, okay, I have to share this one. The story is totally fucked. Basically I had this flatmate, let's call him Alan, who was from Hong Kong and was very reclusive and quiet. Now, this in itself isn't that odd, as from my experience lots of international students tend to stick to themselves and don't necessarily mix with Gen Pop, but whatever. So the one unique characteristic of Alan is that he used to always order Chinese takeaway. He would order it frequently, and he would order a lot of it, like boxes stacked on boxes. It was a fuckload of food for one person, but Alan was skinnier, so I did wonder what was going on. This was pretty much the only time you would see him, and he would take his food straight back to his room, and that was that. Now this pattern continued for the first couple of months, but then we stopped seeing Alan. No more takeaway, nothing. Now this didn't raise much suspicion as he was always an enigma, but coming to the end of the semester a really rancid smell started to engulf the flat hallway. Like this putrid, overwhelming smell. The kind that made you gag just getting a whiff of it. It was really unbearable. And, surprise surprise, the smell was coming from Alan's room. We hoped the smell would eventually clear up, but it just got worse. At first me and my buddies were hesitant to knock on his door as it's pretty awkward to say, "Hey Alan, your room fucking stinks, PLS stop," but honestly it got to the point when it was unbearable to even walk into our flat. So we tried knocking a number of times but never got any reply. Eventually we called campus security and complained, and they came with us to open up his door and see what the fuck was going on. Now, some of you might be thinking poor Alan had topped himself and his body was rotting away right next to us all this time. But the reality was far more fucked up than that. Campus security opened his door, and Alan was nowhere to be found. No belongings, laptop or anything. However, the room was a fucking tip. There were boxes and boxes of takeaway stacked up in the room. That explains the smell. However, there were also a load of women's tights stuffed with noodles on the floor, rotting away with flies all over them. And the worst thing of all, there were holes cut between the legs of the tights. So, it turns out Alan was using his takeaway to stuff women's tights with noodles, and then fucked them. So, where did Alan go? The university searched for him on their student database. We only knew his first name so couldn't help much, but they couldn't find him. They then searched for him by his flat room number and it transpired that room should not have been occupied at all. Apparently some student was meant to come but turned down their offer last minute. So in the end we had no idea who the fuck Alan was. After this complete shitstorm, the university moved all of my flat out to a hotel for a week whilst they got some people in to cleanse the whole place. TL, Doctor, a mystery flatmate who wasn't even enrolled at university stuffed women's tights with noodles and fucked them, then disappeared and let them slowly rot. What?
Arby's. We beat your meat. Just kidding. Would you like a sandwich? I can make you a sandwich.